Blessed are you, Lord our God, the judge of truth.
Now you can, if you can reach a hole, and just tear it up along its length if you can. No, the idea is if you can to do it. Perfect. Perfect.
And of course, the empty space signifies the whole new heart with the loss. It's filled with all these incredible memories of joy, of laughter, and of love. Close your heart, share it.
Friends, please make sure your phones are off or on vibrate.
This is Cantor Rosenga, Rolana, daughter Rolana, sister Bobby, daughter Thanks for the text. I was following along.
מזמור לדוד, אדוני רואי לא אחסר, בנאות אשר ירביצני, עמי מנוחות ינעלני. נפשי ישובב, ינחני במעגלי צדק, ינחני במעגלי צדק, למען שמו. גם כי ילך בגיא צלמוות לא ירא, כי אתה עמדי, שבטך ומשענתך המה ינחמוני. תערוך לפני שולחן נגד צורריי, תשענת ושמן ראשי כוסי רוויה. אך טוב וחסד ירדפוני כל ימי חיי, ושבתי בבית אדוני לאורך ימים. אדוני רואי לא אחסר, אדוני רואי לא אחסר.
As our cantor began this service, as we remember our beloved Lynn Goldman, with Psalm 23 in the Hebrew, please join with me in the English. The Lord is my shepherd. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside still waters. He restoreth my soul. He guideth me in straight paths for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou hast anointed my head with oil. My cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Today we gather to share words of praise, words of love, words of honor, and thanks and gratitude, as we recall with great affection Lynn Goldman, a beloved wife, a beloved mother, a beloved grandmother, a beloved sister, a beloved aunt, a beloved cousin, and a beloved friend. Lynn lived life with kindness, with joy, with laughter and smiles. No matter the difficulty or challenges that she faced, an educator by profession, she taught us all how to live life to the fullest, live with appreciation, how to share joy with others, to lift up all those around us, and enjoy every single moment. Lynn has left behind many in mourning. Her husband of nearly 50 years, just a few weeks shy. Her everything, her confidant and best friend, caregiver, and dedicated life partner, Avi. And the apples of her eye, her two girls, her daughters, Natalie and Alana, and her son-in-law, not just son-in-law, Jason, and the diamonds in her crown, her 5 grandchildren, Noah, Jonas, Gilad, Amaya, and Mika, her sister Bobby, who was more than a sister from the beginning, best friends from birth, her nephew and nieces, Susan and Larry, nephews and nieces, Susan and Larry, Bill and Jill, Amy and David, first cousins Cheryl and Steve, Aline and Lawrence, and all the family and friends. Our beloved Lynn now joins her parents of blessed memory, Alex and Frida, Siegel, and all those who have gone before in heaven. Today we have some very special tributes from the family. I'm going to call up daughter Natalie first. And after Natalie, then granddaughter Noah, and then Avi will speak.
How do I begin to synthesize and express all of the joy and beauty that my mom was and gave to us and to the world? If you were blessed to meet her, then you already know. She exuded warmth, caring, and playfulness, and was likely the most approachable person that I have ever known, with a magnetic personality, welcoming smile, and a hilarious sense of humor. It is no wonder that our home was always been filled with people. Growing up, kids from the neighborhood were welcomed after school with snacks, movies, and maybe some ice cubes snuck down your back. There was never a dull moment with my mom. Not only was she just so much fun and caring, she was even cool. She just got children and teenagers and loved them and was like a mother to so many others. Her young-hearted spirit enabled her to connect deeply with people of all ages. And she would sometimes laugh about how some of her closest friends at work were decades younger than her. Her youthful energy and boundless love was felt daily by all of us, no matter the distance, and especially her grandchildren. She invested tremendous energies with great intention to truly get to know each individual grandchild and shower them with her love, affection, and pride in their uniqueness. My mom loved to play, and whenever she was involved, there would just be so much fun and laughter. Her grandchildren lit up her life, and she theirs. And if any one of them had asked her for the moon, that she was going to damn well figure out how she was going to get it for them. I don't need to play the lottery. My dad is known to play the lottery. I don't need to because I already won in having Avi and Lynn Goldman as my parents. Their love for each other and us is just out of this world, and their support was always unwavering. My parents exemplified partnership, love of family, service to others, and exuberance for life. I remember one afternoon when I was somewhere around 12 years old, I was crying to my mom, and I was so upset because she was my best friend. Over time, I understood how lucky I am to have her as my best friend. I have learned so much from my mom and will continue to strive to be like her as a mom and in relationships with family, friends, and anyone I come across. She was the ultimate role model for loving kindness. Thank you all so much for the outpouring of love and support for my mom and my family. You have made her feel so special, and you have touched our hearts. In her final weeks, my mom was considering making a playlist for her funeral. There were lots of jokes in her final weeks even. She was just always had the most incredible sense of humor. She made all the nurses laugh. She is just hilarious. So she wanted to make a playlist. And if you know her, she loved music of every kind. And she always stayed current while continuing to love her oldies. So growing up, she was the only mom that I knew of, at least, that loved Billy Idol and Twisted Sister. One of her most recent favorites was Grand Amore, and she had decided that should be the theme of today. I think nothing could be more fitting than great love. Not only did she love life and appreciate the small things, but throughout her life, she was devoted to loving her family and friends, and we all loved her back deeply.
Hi, I'm Noah. I'm my grandma's oldest granddaughter, and I wrote this speech last night at Camp Wise that would not have been possible without my grandparents allowing me to go to Camp Wise for the past 5 years of my life. I think I can speak on behalf of all my grandma's grandchildren to say that we have the most special grandmother. When I think about the person I inspire myself to be every day for the rest of my life, I think of my grandma. From a very young age, it is very easy to say that Grandma instantly clicked with all her grandchildren. Her sarcastic humor is irresistible, and her laugh is contagious. And the fact that she could start singing a song from every last word of a sentence was always a great form of entertainment. She always knew how to make others feel good and welcomed. I've truly never met a more selfless person than my grandmother. She would go above and beyond to make sure that all of her grandchildren are satisfied and happy, and even if that means dealing with FedEx and sending mac and cheese to Israel every year, because I was obsessed with that. And she's done just that for the past 18 years of my life. Everything she's ever done in her life was for her family, and that is what I'm most proud of her for. She taught me everything I know about the values of family, friendship, and relationships. And she taught me to always treat others with kindness. Every day she has battled just to be with her family, and I've always felt so lucky having a grandma who would truly do anything for me. She always made sure that we all felt loved and appreciated, and even probably boosted all the grandchildren's ego a little bit too much. I think the hardest thing about this is how much I'm going to miss her, and hearing her sing and have fun just every day and really just enjoy everything I tell her about my life. So it's really inspiring to see you guys all today. Thank you for coming.
My parents were Holocaust survivors. And seeing the crowd here, I'm very proud to see so many people. But I cannot start the remarks about Lynn without acknowledging some of the Holocaust survivors that are here. I think a couple of days ago, one of the survivors that is here, El Palak, celebrated his 101st birthday. So El, please stand up so people will know who you are. Here, he's there, 101. And he can outrun everyone probably. There's another couple here that if they would not be in Cleveland, you would have never met me. It's Art and Rose Gelbart. I came to Cleveland in 1969 because Rose's cousin and her family, which were very close friends of my parents, were living in Cleveland. So, and Art and Rose, I don't want to tell anyone your age, you don't look it. So just stand up, Art and Rose, so people will recognize who you are. Thank you. Thank you for being here, and thank you for everyone. Thank you for all the support that you've been giving our family. 55 years ago, I attended my first funeral. I was a crew member of an Israeli Navy destroyer. My destroyer was the first in naval history that was hit and sunk by missiles. I was a lucky survivor. We had a crew of 199, and we lost 47. So at the young age of 20, I had to endure what loss of life is. Most of the crew members that we lost were in their 20s. That night of October 21st, 1967, gave a new meaning to my middle name, which is Chaim. That's my middle name in Hebrew. The English meaning is life. For 52 years, I was lucky to share my life with Lynn. Her obituary describes how special she was to all that crossed paths with her through her life. I like to share a couple memories about Lynn so you'll understand how special she was. A few years ago, we went to the west side to a restaurant called Pier W for lunch. I don't know if it was our anniversary or a celebration of a birthday. It was a late lunch. We go in, get seated, we get our drinks. Suddenly a young couple comes in, and the man starts looking at Lynn. Suddenly he gets up, walks over to our table, and looks at her and says, "Are you Miss Goldman?" She looked at him and she recognized him. He said to her, "Because of you, I'm a teacher." She was a reading specialist at the South Euclid Lyndhurst school system. And her passion was working with kids that had difficulties reading. And it's not only that incident. Many places in the community that we would be, suddenly someone would pop up and say, "Hey, thank you, Miss Goldman, for teaching me how to read." She started her work at the South Euclid school system as a lunch aide. And she met a special person that was the principal of the school, Mel Wasserman. And Mel is here also tonight. And he encouraged her to change her career and become a reading specialist. And she loved it, and that's she did throughout her career. Another episode I want to share with you is one of our nieces, Jill, found a cleaning lady for our family. A middle-aged woman that had a hard time in her life. She was, I believe, from Alabama, that came to Cleveland to improve her life. And she took real good care of our family. Her name was Jean. And Jean was her confidant, but Lynn was also part of her life. One day, Jean calls Lynn and she says, "Lynn, I cannot come to clean today." So Lynn says, "Jean, what's going on?" She said, "I don't have a car. My car is broken." Lynn said, "Jean, I'll meet you. I'll give you money. You go buy a car." And that's what happened. Lynn gave her a few $1,000s. 2 days later, Jean comes with an old Buick LeSabre, a gray Buick LeSabre, and she said, "I'm ready to clean again." And she's been with our family for years. And Lynn never asked her, "When are you going to pay me back?" Jean said, "When I have the money, I'll pay you back." And she paid her back. But Lynn never asked for the money back. She trusted her. That was Lynn. Aspire to inspire before you expire is a phrase that I like. Lynn inspired many through her friendships. In her 16-year battle with cancer, she acted with courage, trust, and no complaints. She never complained about the treatment she was getting or anything. Surgery, chemo treatments, thousands of pills, and more surgeries. That was her quest for a quality of life that she wanted to share with family, friends. And she was always loved by the doctors and nurses that treated her. Even when she was in a room with another patient, she always had relationships. Her last stay in the hospital, she was medicated and she wasn't feeling good. When she was brought into the room, there was another woman that was a little loud on the phone. And I spent some time with her, and then I went home. And I came back early in the morning. That woman looks at me and she starts telling me my life story. I think those two were talking all night. And then there was another woman with the same thing. The first one loved Lynn so much that she sent a nice paper bouquet of flowers, and she is in contact with Natalie. So can you imagine, she didn't talk to me, but she talked to all the other ones. The best and biggest gift that Lynn added to my life is our daughters, Natalie and Ilana. A caring son-in-law and 5 amazing and adorable grandchildren. And if you had the chance, look at them and see how special they are. And they were special to her throughout all her life. In the last few weeks, all of them gave back to their mother and grandmother the love, admiration, respect, care, and attention that they received from Lynn throughout their life and throughout the years. Lynn was never alone, always with a family member by her side. 24 hours a day, we stayed with her. Lynn's sister, Bobby, was at her and our side daily. Her cousins, Aline from Chicago and Cheryl from Boston, left their families and spent the past 3 weeks loving, caring, and supporting Lynn and our family. Thank you for sharing yourself with us. For years, Lynn's request was, when time comes, to leave her family and her friends. She wants to do it without pain and with dignity. Her wish was granted. To the wonderful medical staff that tended to her, I would like to thank them for their professional care, attention, compassion, and dedication. They made her journey easier. I would like to thank all of you for being here with us. You know, Lynn cared about all of you during her life. We will remember her during our life. Lynn believed in one small sentence, and it is, while you're alive, live. And I'm asking you, please live. I can talk hours, but the rabbi will continue, because my accent would not give you all the good stuff that Lynn brought to our lives and your lives. So again, thank you.
What incredible, moving tributes from this family. If you were blessed to know Lynn, whether it was for your entire life or whether it was for the 2 minutes that you stood in the grocery store line next to her, you knew that she was incredibly special, and you probably considered her your best friend. That's really true. And the rabbis say that we should live by something called midot, the highest values, virtues, and qualities that we aspire to. And Lynn exemplified them. And God willing, her memory will still teach that to us. Fun-loving, sweet and caring, playful, non-judgmental, generous, approachable, open. She was your champion, your best friend, your cheerleader. She accepted you for who you were. She showered you with love, made you laugh, shared one of her stories which she remembered and told so well. So quick-witted, kind, and even more kind. Loved to laugh, hilarious, lived to take care of you, to feed you. Her attentiveness to you, always concerned for your well-being. Alana, you shared with me that your mother's one fault in life was that she cared too much for other people, because she would bend over backwards for you, stay up at night worried that she didn't do enough to help you. Lynn was pure sunshine. That's what we talked about when we met yesterday. And through it all, through all the difficulties, which Avi only just gave a brief synopsis of over the 16 years and multiple cancers, her bravery, courageousness, truly inspirational, never thinking about herself in that way at all, never letting it slow her down or stop her, always with humor, with kindness, and selflessness. Lynn lived for family. We can see it, and we know it. Born and raised here in Cleveland, in Shaker Heights, Bobby, you told me that the two sisters, you always laughed, always had fun. The cousins added stories of how as a child Lynn was so clever and fun, building forts, using her imagination to guide you through all different places. During Seder nights, bringing you under the table with her to play games and steal some sips of wine. How her mom, Frida, would let her stay home from school if there was a good movie on TV during the day. She loved those old movies, and the tradition continued as Lynn did the same for her girls, Natalie and Alana, letting you stay home or stay up late. Lynn graduated from Shaker Heights High School. And Avi, you shared with me the story of how you and Lynn met. Avi was here as an engineering student from Israel. It was a Saturday night, and he had a few minutes between dates. I'm not sure how many dates you actually had that night. But you were between dates, So what did he do? But he stopped at Corky and Lenny's for a bite at Cedar Center, and as Avi pulled up into the parking lot, he pulled in right next to another car that had two women in the front seats. He recognized the one in the driver's seat. He leaned over, said hello. He didn't know the woman on the passenger seat. So what did Avi do? He asked, "Who's that?" And the woman that he knows said, "That's my friend Lynn." Well, Avi leaned over, handed her a piece of paper and said, "Hey, write down your number and I'll call you later." Avi already had a plan. You shared with me you liked her pretty eyes and her smile. You were just taken about the way about her just that first moment. I'm not sure how you had time, but you called her. You came over to Lynn's place, and she was cooking. This was already a good thing. And he asked, "Who are you cooking for?" And she said, "Her dog." And she was making a meal for her dog, and Avi thought to himself, well, if she cooks for the dog, she's going to cook for me and take good care of me too. She's a keeper. It's true. And then he saw how Lynn was with her sister, and her sister who already had children with the nieces and the nephews. And then you brought Lynn to Israel to meet your family, and not surprising, Lynn gelled immediately with your parents. They loved her. Avi, you told me you could see Lynn making a list when you were visiting in Israel, writing down names. And you asked her, "What are you doing?" And she said, "I'm making our wedding invitation list." Well, as we say, the rest was history. Less than a month, you would be celebrating your 50th wedding anniversary. You honeymooned in Niagara Falls and Montreal, Niagara Falls and Toronto, but not just the two of you. It was the family in from Israel. It was Bobby and her family and the kids. It was ganze Mishpocha, as we say in Yiddish, because Avi, you and Lynn together share a life filled with family and friends, with love and devotion and so much laughter. You're just so right for each other, a perfect pair, complementing each other, bringing out the best in each other. Lynn was your filter, your social etiquette monitor, best friends. You loved to take car rides to the lake, to Amish country, and you had this game where you would bicker in a fun and loving way back and forth, always ending with one making the other laugh and the two of you laughing together. And your devotion and dedication act as role models to us all, which Natalie talked about. Together you raised your girls. Lynn was the ultimate mother, the confidant, always available, non-judgmental. Your mother never grounded you, you were proud to say to me, always there for you, teaching the girls to be kind, curious, and imaginative, and to be incredible parents in your own right. She loved being with you, wanted to be at home or close to home. Her best times were in those life transitions when you lived with your parents for different time periods. And Alana, you told the story that when you would come home from college to visit for a weekend or for a few days, the morning that you were supposed to leave, your mom would prepare an elaborate breakfast, one last big home-cooked meal, with the hope that maybe you would be too full, you'd want to stay home a little bit longer, maybe get another elaborate meal. And then she'd say, "Just stay for another day. You don't have to go back to school yet." But she, "Mom, I have a class that I have to get back to." The ultimate grandmother, which you already heard from Noah, speaking on behalf of all the grandchildren, always organizing and planning special things like that treasure hunt that she created at the house with maps and clues that she had for you to do, even burying treasure chests in the backyard. When you come to visit, she'd stock up on all your favorite foods, make sure to get the list of every single thing that you liked and you wanted, each one of you going from store to store to store for each of the different grandchildren, or if you were having dinner with them and the 3 or 5 grandchildren wanted from 3 or 5 different places, she would go to every single restaurant to pick up the takeout because she wanted you to get exactly what you wanted always. Lynn's goal as a grandma was to make sure that you got everything that you wanted and to make it fun with her inside jokes that she had with each of you. And you confided in her. You always felt safe to share anything with her. And you never had to be appropriate or proper because she loved you for just who who you were. Avi talked about how she was so successful in her career because she was kind, intuitive, genuine, and hardworking, understanding each and every child in their own way in every situation. And she was incredibly special. Decades of students credit her for being their inspiration and role model. And she also served as an advocate in the union, served as president, working to improve the health benefits for public school employees. She was known for her grape jelly. Every fall, going out to pick Concord grapes at Eddie's farm and making the jelly she'd share with you. The famous pie breakfast, a 50-year tradition on the morning of Thanksgiving, which featured at least 20 variations of homemade pies and quiches, a coveted and fought-over invitation to pie breakfast, I'm told, written up in the Plain Dealer. Lynn loved her sweets, and the idea for pie breakfast was based on the tradition of why not eat dessert first. Live life with joy, and Lynn shared that sweetness with each and every one of you. She was a planner. You heard already about her making lists. One of her favorite lists was that she had a plan that if Avi hit the lottery, she already had dispensed all of the earnings and the winnings, and she listed out every family member, every friend, everyone who was a part of her circle in her life, whether it was Jean the cleaning lady or anyone else that had done anything or befriended her. And she was always reevaluating the list and pushing more money out to help other people. Generous to a fault, she loved to go shopping with you, shop for you, slip a little money in your pocket so that she took care of you. She loved being in Florida, watching the water, going to the beach, all the nature, birding, swimming. She loved her home in South Euclid, especially the backyard. She loved her animals, especially her granddog. She loved to traveling the world with Avi, with Bobby, with the kids, with the nieces and nephews, with the grandkids, the girl trips, Costa Rica, London, Alaska, the Rhine, Danube, Israel, whitewater rafting after her kayak flipped over in the dangerous white waters, always planning the next trip, creating things to look forward to, and never letting her health challenges stop her. This is what the family wrote in tribute for the eulogy. Lynn's home was welcoming, loving, fun, and supportive. She carried on the tradition of creating this entire environment throughout her life, whether it be at home or anywhere else. There are countless memories of her laughter, conversation, and the loving and supportive atmosphere that she effortlessly created. She made everyone's lives around her better and will be deeply missed. Her influence, compassion, and humor will undoubtedly live on through her family, friends, and all those fortunate enough to love her. We can truly say that Lynn will be missed, but we will always remember her laughter, her kindness, and her love. May her name always bring blessings, and we say, Amen. Now I'm going to call back Cantor Rosenbaum to lead us in the memorial prayer as we rise for the El Mali.
El Mali Rachamim Shochen Bamromim Hamtzei Menucha Nechona Tachet Kanfei Ashchina B'malot Kedoshim Utarim Kezar Arakia Mazhirim Ad Nishmat Leah Rachel Bat Alex Ufrida Shelcha Leolama Began Eden Temenuchata Anna Balai Rachamim Hastira B'Seiter Kenafecha Leolamim Utzrar b'tzrar achayim et nishmata Adonai hu nachalata V'tanuach b'shalom amishkava ונאמר אמן.
Exalted, compassionate God, grant infinite rest in your sheltering presence among the holy and pure to the soul of our beloved Leah Rachel, Lynn Goldman, who has gone to her eternal home. Merciful One, we ask her loved one find perfect peace in your eternal embrace. May she merit the reward for living a life filled with kindness, righteousness, and love. May her soul be bound up in the bond of life. May she rest in peace. And we say, Amen. Please be seated. Following the service, the burial will take place at Zion Memorial Park in Bedford Heights. And then the family will be sitting Shiva at their home, 1799 South Belvoir Road in South Euclid. Today, following burial until 9 p.m. and tomorrow, Tuesday, from noon to 4 and 7 to 9. And we'll be holding evening minyan services tonight and tomorrow at 7:30 p.m. Those that would like to contribute in Lynn's name and memory can do so to the Kol Israel Foundation or the American Cancer Society.
I'd like any of those who are going to act as pallbearers, if you kindly step out at this time. Friends, I'm going to ask you to step directly to your cars. Those of you driving with us to the cemetery, I remind you must manually turn on your headlights, being as it's daytime, your headlights will not come on automatically. Thank you. You may exit to the front or rear of the chapel as you need.